Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Museum of Glass. Have you guys been here before? You have? Nope. Okay. Well, we'll just start out with a quick introduction to how glass blowing works. Everything that we do here starts out in our glass furnaces. The glass furnaces are the machines where you see the doors closed. There's two of them, one on each side of the studio. If you look up on the big screen, you'll see a diagram. That's what the furnaces look like inside. So inside each of the furnaces, we have 1,000 pounds of molten glass. We keep the molten glass at 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit. 2,100 degrees is about as hot as the hottest volcano. So having a glass furnace is kind of like having your own private volcano. We have glass instead of lava. When we want to get the glass out to make stuff, we take one of those steel pipes. Those are called blow pipes. And we dip them into the melted glass like you're dipping into a big jar of honey. We dip it in, twirl it around. A little bit of glass sticks the end of the pipe. Pipe is hollow, so when you blow, the ball of glass blows up like a balloon. If you want to make something larger, we dip it in, blow a bubble, let it harden. Then we dip it in a second time or a third time. We just keep building up the glass in layers. All the glass that's in those furnaces is clear glass. It has no color. We buy our colored glass separately. We buy it in various forms. We buy it in bars, we buy it in little chips, we buy it in powders. And when we want to make a colored object, we blow a bubble of clear glass from the furnace, heat up a chunk of the colored glass, and then we coat that initial bubble with red or blue or green, whatever color we want to make the thing. We have a little video. We'll show you how we do that. Can we play color overlay?
The color in glass comes from adding various materials to the mixture of raw ingredients called batch. Most of the colorants are compounds containing some kind of metal. For example, adding cobalt to clear glass creates a deep blue. Tin and antimony can be used to create white glass, and gold chloride can produce a rich red or pink colored glass. Colored glass is melted in furnaces, just like clear glass, and then is usually rolled into bars for storage and easy application. In order to apply color bar to a bubble, we first need to preheat the color to approximately 950 or 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit in a color oven or garage. Once warm, the color is then picked up on the end of a punty rod using a little bit of clear glass as a support. The color is then heated in the 2300 degree glory hole to soften it and make it malleable, while another artist creates a small bubble of clear glass on a blowpipe. Once warm, the color is dropped over the clear bubble, and then using a variety of hand tools or the steel marver, the color is rolled back over the clear in an even layer. This process is called dropping color, or creating a color overlay. Depending on the project, that bubble is then usually gathered over with clear glass and blown into the final form. The finished product may appear to be all made from colored glass, but when viewed in cross-section, we can see that there is only a thin layer of color sandwiched between many layers of clear glass.
So the reason that we color the glass in that manner is so that we can have any color we want anytime we want. If we were to fill the furnace with blue glass, we could only make blue things. If we coat each piece individually, we can make any color at any time. So today we're hosting folks from the NCN Collective. It's a group of artists who decided to work together. You can see some of the things they've made this past week and a half. The man working the glass right now is Martin Janecký. He's a Czech glass blower, a very super talented glass sculptor. All these faces and everything that you see here, they're all done completely by hand. There's no molds, just skill. Do you guys have any questions so far? Oh, not really. Everybody's got to be wearing glasses of some kind. We wear clothing because polyester will melt, and we wear closed-toed shoes, and that's it. We have a very good record of safety. We've had one trip to the emergency room in 24 years, and that was a slip and fall. It wasn't a glass thing. So Martin has just dipped his bubble into the big tank of molten glass. The glass that he added is clear glass. The yellow-orange color that you're seeing is the glow from the heat, not the color of the glass. I believe he coated the original bubble with black. So when we finally make this sculpture, it'll be black. So right now, Martin is shaping the glass using a pad of wet newspaper. Just everyday ordinary newspaper, folded up a bunch of times and soaked in water. As long as the newspaper is wet, the paper doesn't burn too much, and it doesn't leave any marks as we shape the glass. Can we put up the newspaper photo? So if you look up on the big screen, on the bottom is a brand new newspaper. On the top is a newspaper that's been used for a little while. The sculpture that we're making is that chalk drawing you see on the floor. If you look up on the big screen now, they're sifting powdered colored glass onto the surface of that bubble. For a lot of these things, see if we've got something out here. Yes? Yes, but I could do it again. I'm in the... Okay. So we're putting a layer, we want a thin layer of colored glass on the outside, and then we're going to sandblast through that layer to put on indigenous designs. You can see some of these things here. So we have to, when we're using the powdered colored glass, we have to coat it several times to get a good solid coating. So it's just kind of an ordinary flour sifter. Sift the powdered colored glass on, and then go back to one of the furnaces and melt it. The round furnace that Raven is working out of, Raven Skyriver, the man with the long ponytail, He's a member of this NCN Collective. He's a local glass sculptor who works on Lopez Island. He's very talented, and a lot of his work is sculptures of marine life. Each time we heat up the glass in that round oven, the glory hole, it stays hot for a little while, hot and soft, but it doesn't stay soft very long. So we heat it up, and then we go back to the workbench, do whatever shaping we can while it's hot and soft, and then when it starts to cool and stiffen, we return to the glory hole and heat it up again. There's two basic kinds of furnaces here. The glass furnaces are the ones with the doors closed. The glory holes are the ones with the doors open. The glass furnaces contain the molten glass, and the glory holes are just a hot chamber for heating and softening the glass while we're working. Anybody have any questions? Well, I was talking about adding that layer of color on the outside. If you look at this whale, so you can see there's black on the outside, and then we've sandblasted through the black to expose red underneath. If you look over here, you'll see we coat these glass pieces with an adhesive rubber mask. We cut out our design, and then we spray it with abrasive sand, sandblast it. The parts that are exposed, it'll wear through that outer layer of color. The parts that are protected by the rubber mask stay shiny. So a number of the folks that are in this NCN Collective are Native Americans, and so a lot of the imagery that we're going to use, you can see the masks which, resemble traditional masks, and the designs on the surface are called form line design. It's a style of the Tlingit Indians. It's their formal design style. So a lot of these masks they have a thin layer of color on the outside, and they will be applying the form line designs to the surface. Could we put up, let's see, we put up the sandblasting drawing? So if you look up on the big screen, this is the sandblasting. So wherever it's covered by that rubber stencil, that protects the surface. Wherever there's no stencil, the sandblasting wears through to the color underneath. So the things that we're going to make today, they'll all be blank. We'll have the form that we're looking for, but the design part of it, that'll happen later, after the glass is cold. So to the right is center. That's Corey, one of our interns. She's heating up that ceramic plate. I'm going to use that ceramic plate to flatten that bubble. So glass blowing is a team sport. We rarely work alone. And so the team that's on the floor today is a mixture of the artists from the NCN Collective and some of our resident team of glass blowers here at the museum. Do you guys have any questions? Just glasses, closed-toed shoes, and cotton clothing. If things get hot and they feel uncomfortable, they'll put a glove on or maybe a sleeve around their bare arm. The big black pads that Mr. Janecký has in his hand to shape the glass are made out of cork like in a wine bottle. As long as the cork allows us to press on the glass without leaving any marks. You notice one of the glass blowers is seated to the left of the workbench. He's got his thumb across the end of the pipe. That is called capping. And the heat from the glass expands the air inside, and it gives a little back pressure so that when he presses on the glass, the form doesn't collapse. Now Martin's crimping the connection between the metal glass disc and the metal pipe. And where he crimped it, that's where we're going to be able to break the disc away from the metal pipe once we're done shaping. So if you see the drawing on the floor, he's making the round disc that's in the middle between the bird and the cylinder. Everything that we make here has to be cooled slowly or it'll break. The slow cooling process is called annealing. I don't know if you noticed that glass on the floor that just popped. That's what happens to the glass if you don't cool it slowly. We just cut that piece, trimmed that section off. It just fell to the floor, and we didn't do anything to it. And if it cools too rapidly, it breaks. So when we finish this sculpture, we'll put it in one of these big black ovens, and we'll cool it down very slowly overnight. Do you have any questions? So as we make each part of this sculpture, when each part is finished, we'll place it in this oven over here called the garage, the silver oven with the curved side. We call it the garage because that's where we park stuff until we're ready to use it. It operates at half the temperature of the furnaces. It's hot enough to keep the glass from breaking, but it's not hot enough to make the glass soft. So whatever goes into the garage stays warm, holds its shape. When we're ready to assemble the sculpture, we'll pull it out and heat it up a little extra. If you're here with kids today, we have a contest for kids. Any kid 12 or younger can do a drawing. Once a month, we pick one of the drawings and we make whatever the kid drew out of glass. We make 2 copies, one for the kid to take home and one for the museum collection. It's free to enter. There's a table out in the lobby with drawing materials and entry forms. If you don't feel like drawing now, grab one entry form for each kid. You can do the drawings at home and mail them in or drop them off if you're local. I'm going to transfer this disc from the rod it was originally blown on to a second steel rod called the punty. So that second steel rod is just holding it temporarily while we work on the opposite side. We have 2 ways in which we heat up the glass. Sometimes we heat it up in the big round ovens, the glory holes. Sometimes we heat it up with a torch. When we heat it up with a torch, we can focus the heat in a particular place. When we put it in the glory hole, it heats it up more gently. When we need the heat in a specific spot, we use the torch. Right now, Mr. Janecký wants to close up that hole on the open end of that disc. And you can see we focus the torch on that area. You can see that area is glowing because it's hotter than the rest. It's hotter and softer. We're going to stretch out the glass at the very top a little bit, then we're going to squeeze it down, and we'll have a completely closed form. The folks working on the floor, we have Martin Janecký, the man sitting at the workbench. Kelly Odell, the woman standing up with the gray shirt. And Raven Skyriver turning the pipe. We'll also be getting some assistance from our resident team of glassblowers. Is Ben Cobb in the green shirt, Corey, our intern, and Gabe Feenan and Sarah Gilbert, who will be assisting as well. Does anybody have questions? We're going to blow a little air into the front end of that form. The tool we're going to use is called the Soffietta. It's a skinny tube with a cone attached to the end. The cone will fit in the opening, and then we blow through the central tube to inflate the glass even after we've removed it from the original pipe. We have some short videos of the individual artists. Could we play the Martin Janecký video?
My name is Martin Janecký. I'm from Prague, Czech Republic, and I've lived and worked in Fairbanks, Alaska as well. I've been blowing glass for about 17 years now, since '93, and it's all I know, and it's all I've been doing, and yeah, I never stopped. I love it every day. For about a year and a half, I've been making these figurative work, lots of like theatrical, and it's like a clowns, but it's not clowns, you know. It's a lot of circus theme work, focusing on expressions and the whole movement of the piece and stuff.
Yeah, I use the word Kafka-esque to describe your clowns. Would you think that's appropriate?
That's great.
Okay. You know, this sculpting is very technical, but then there's obviously this kind of undercurrent of emotion or confusion or angst or, you know, whatever it is. Each one's probably individual, but there's, you know, there's something under the surface rather than just the...
Yeah, it's not really happy stuff. I don't make the... I think there's enough happy stuff.
The bright bumblebees and all that stuff.
I'm like, you know, I'm one of the happiest glassblower on earth, so I have to like balance it out with this stuff.
Okay. So Martin is actually one of the most humble, talented glassblowers that we've ever met. He started working on the factory floor when the age of 13, and he became a master at the factory at the age of 21. He doesn't talk about his work a lot, but among glassblowers he's considered to be one of the best, especially considering his age. We're very privileged to have him here at the Museum of Glass this week.
I brought some parts from Alaska, and we're going to be putting together some larger figures. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's just, it kind of visualizes nice and
Would you want it sitting on a hand, or would you want like a strip of cracks here, strip of cracks there?
I'm really thankful to be here and work with the team.
Raven, in the long ponytail, was using the Sophietta, a little cone-shaped tool. So the cone goes into the opening, and then we blow through the central tube. It allows us to inflate the glass even after we've removed it from the original pipe. So we've placed the disc shape into the garage. Garage will keep it warm until we're ready to assemble the whole sculpture. Does anybody have any questions? To the right of center, Mr. Janecký is collecting glass for the next part of this sculpture. The glass he has on his blowpipe right now is clear glass. The yellow-orange color you're seeing is the glow from the heat. He's shaping the glass using a tool called the block. B-L-O-C-K. The block is a scoop-shaped tool. It's made out of wood. It's stored in a bucket of water. As long as the wood is wet, the tool doesn't burn, and it doesn't leave any marks as he shapes the glass. There's no formal system. Not like in other countries in Europe. What?
It's like an internship, or like it's like an apprenticeship.
No. There's no formal system here in the United States. People come to it in all sorts of different ways. Dave over there, he didn't go to school at all. He learned everything at work. Martin started in the factory when he was 13. Here in Tacoma, you can learn glass blowing starting in middle school in the public schools. So there's about 50 art colleges across the nation that have glass in their art departments. There's also giveaways, but there's no approved linear path to get to it.
It's whenever they feel ready.
What?
Whenever they feel ready.
Well, I mean, just go to school, you work, or how good you are, and just how you advance. It's not really like an old-fashioned apprentice master journey. Can you see the chalk drawing? Do we have the chalk drawing in the switcher? See if we can put it up on the screen. So that's the drawing of the sculpture. The bird has been made. The disc has been made. That's sitting in this oven over here. And now we're making that cylinder part. Oh yeah, it's just getting started with that bubble. It'll get bigger. So right now it's a hollow bubble, but it's quite thick. We'll blow it up, expand it, stretch it out. We're just at the beginning for this section. Got some event with his band today.
Oh, really? Okay.
He might be here later in the evening. So the museum is going to be open till 8 tonight. We're going to have a special nighttime blow with members of the NCN Collective. Usually we close at 5. So we'll probably shut down at 5. And then we'll start the evening blow at 5:30. And tonight, Charlie Parriott, another local artist, will be working. Each time we dip the bubble into the big tank of molten glass, only a certain amount of glass sticks to it. So when we want to make something large, we need a lot of glass. We have to build it up in layers. Each time we dip it in and coat it, it's called taking a gather, G-A-T-H-E-R. So sometimes when we're talking about how big something is, we'll say it's 1 gather, 2 gathers, 3 gathers. It means we dipped it in once, twice, 3 times. I don't know. Not yet, no. So all this glass work that you see on the tables is part of the NCN Collective. It's a group of very talented glass sculptors who've decided to work together on a project. There's Martin Janecký, who's working the glass right now, Raven Skyriver, Preston Singletary, Charlie Parriott, Joe David. Leave anybody out? And they'll also be working with members of our resident team of glassblowers who'll be assisting them. Ben Cobb in the green shirt is the head of our glass shop. And the man in the trucker hat, that's Gabe Feenan. He's also a member of our resident team of glassblowers. Glassblowing is a team sport. We rarely do it alone. So you'll see a whole bunch of people working together. This is the normal way that glassblowing is being done. The glass itself is made out of three main components: sand, soda ash, and lime. Can we put up the ingredients slide? Whoa. So there it is, sand, soda ash, and lime. Sand is the bulk of it. It's mostly melted sand. Soda ash is sodium carbonate. It's a chemical which acts as a flux and lowers the melting temperature of the sand. The lime is calcium carbonate. That stabilizes the mixture chemically. We throw those three things into the big furnace, cook it overnight. All those chemicals melt together and make glass. If you just cook those three together, you get clear glass. If you want to make colored glass, you usually add some kind of metal. If you take those three ingredients and cobalt, you cook it up, you get blue glass. Chromium, green glass. Tin, white glass. Red, gold, a little bit of gold makes a beautiful ruby red glass. So most of the colors, not all of the colors are metals. Sulfur is used to make the amber that you see in beer bottles. Sulfur is not a metal. We buy all the glass that's in our big furnaces is clear, and we buy colored glass in various forms. We buy it commercially like an artist would buy paint, red, yellow, blue. We want to make a colored object. We blow a bubble of clear glass from the furnace. We heat up a chunk of colored glass, and then we coat that bubble with red or blue or green, whatever color we want to make the object. So now Martin Janecký, is going over to our furnace. He's going to dip his bubble into the big tank of molten glass. I'll get a coating of clear glass. All the colors you see while we're working are distorted by the heat. We coated that bubble with black glass. Now obviously it looks bright orange. That orange color you're seeing is the glow from the heat, not the color of the glass. If you think about your own homes, if you have an electric stove, the burners are gray. When you turn them on to cook something, they get hot, they glow orange for a little while. Turn them off, they cool down, the orange glow disappears. That's the same thing you're looking at with the glass. So the orange glow is from the heat. When this finally cools off, that orange glow will be gone, and you'll see the actual color of the glass, which in this case is black. Does anybody have any questions? Hi, how are you guys? Good. Do you guys have any questions? Sure. Can we put up the furnace diagram? So if you look up on the big screen, that's what the furnace looks like inside. There's a big ceramic tank. In that ceramic tank is 1,000 pounds of molten glass. We keep the molten glass at 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 1150 Celsius. At that temperature, the glass has the consistency of honey. So if you can imagine a giant crock pot full of honey, that's what our furnace is like. We want to get the glass out to make stuff. We take one of those steel pipes and we dip it into the molten glass like you're dipping into a big jar of honey. We dip it in, twirl it around, a little glass sticks to the pipe. Pipe is hollow, so when we blow, the ball of glass blows up like a balloon. Each time we dip it in, only a certain amount of glass will stick to the pipe. So if we need a lot of glass, we have to dip it in several times. Not particularly. We get what's called batch, which is kind of like a cake mix. It's got all the raw ingredients. We get it from a company in North Carolina called Spruce Pine Batch. It's specially formulated for this type of hand glass blowing. The glass that goes into a bottle is formulated to harden very quickly, so a machine can make 1,000 bottles in an hour. Our glass is formulated to harden slowly, so we can shape it by hand. You'll notice that one of the glass blowers is holding wooden paddles in front of Mr. Janecký's arm. That's to shield him from the heat. The heat that comes off the glass is radiant heat, like an outdoor heater. It heats the first thing it strikes. So if we place the paddle between the arm and the glass, the paddle gets hot and the arm doesn't. Yeah. Sure.
So the adding color back around the corner?
Yes.
Okay. And then two, what's Raven heating up in that way?
Oh. Oh, that's the garage. That's where we make stuff in parts. This, we keep it warm in this oven over here. But when you form something, we constantly turn the pipe. It may seem like it's solid, but it's actually a little softer than it seems. So when we put it in the garage, we have to go and rotate it periodically so it stays on center till it's actually really stiff and we can ignore it.
And will we take that and cool it over there? Or is he going to take that?
No, that's going to be, we're going to assemble it. You see the chalk drawing on the floor?
Yeah.
Yes. That'll be the round disc in that thing. So right now he's making the cylinder, which is the bottom section. The bird is already made. It's in one of our ovens warming up. And then once he gets his bottom section made, then we'll assemble the whole thing. So now Mr. Janecký is squeezing the glass with a tool called the jacks and making a notch in the glass. That's where we're going to be able to break the glass away from the metal pipe once we're done shaping. The tool is called the jacks, and making a crease is called jacking it down. It's the chalk drawing that you see on the floor. That's the bottom section. This will be the bottom section, the cylindrical section on the bottom. So we make it in 3 separate pieces. We make the bird, the disc, and then the cylindrical section. And each of these pieces that we're making have a little coating of black glass on the outside, and then after it's cooled, one of the artists of this collective, Preston Singletary, will carve these Native American designs into the surface. So you can see, so we made the whale, cooled it off, and then carved through the outer black layer, exposing the red underneath. So each of these pieces that we're making is going to get carved with these traditional Tlingit designs. It's called form line design. Plunkett, no, Tlingit. Well, the computer is not that good with our closed caption. Could we play? Can we play the Preston video? So Preston is the one that's going to carve
the first thing I developed
traditional
was the hat
design.
form. That was one of the most obvious sort of glass-blown things, because we all make bowls that, you know, flare out like that. If you flip it upside down, it's a hat. So it became sort of a canvas for transferring a design onto the glass. And what I didn't even realize and discovered purely by accident was, you know, we placed this hat form under a light, you know, coming directly down. All of a sudden these shadows appeared, you know, underneath the bowl, and it's like a perfect registration of the design in a shadow form. And so I like to think of that as almost like a spirit within the piece. Yeah, I guess I got a lot of recognition for what I was doing as, you know, being a Native American artist. And at that time there just wasn't very many people doing it. And that maybe planted the seed in my head, you know, to sort of maybe connect it in the end with my cultural roots. It was a real evolution from, you know, my glass-blowing skills to the designing skills and trying to make it look like Northwest Coast art. I really had to reinvent myself in terms of understanding the design work. And the deeper I got into that, the more I realized I needed to learn. I started taking workshops with other people who were teaching the form line style. I had to really kind of understand the context of the designs and how they related to the mythologies. The salmon piece is going to be, we'll sculpt this form, and then after the piece is cooled, then I'll add this kind of a design work. This is kind of stylized Northwest Coast design. I have a natural connection to glass, you know, because I've been doing it for 35 years. And I really wanted to just see how far I could go with it. And so I continue to work primarily in glass because there's a lot of stuff to explore. My journey to, you know, connecting the culture to my understanding of it has been a real transformation for me, because in the end it's really about community and family. I think once you become a keeper of cultural knowledge, it becomes a responsibility. I like to try to represent my tribe and my community. That's why, I don't dabble in other people's cultural style. When I do that, it's always collaboratively. So I'm trying to bring people over into the glass world by collaborating with them and showing an example of what can be done, because I have the skills to do it. It's exciting to see, because I think that in the end, it sort of reflects a cultural perspective, and in my opinion, what better place to operate from than this connection. You have this history, and I feel like if I were successful with my work, I would just be inspiring the next generation to do something in their own way. A few years ago, I had my first solo show here at the Museum of Glass, but I'm currently working on an exhibition called Raven in the Box of Daylight. It's going to be opening up in 2017. As you walk through the exhibition, you'll get sort of a thread of the story about Raven, who brought the sun and the moon and the stars to the world and gave it to mankind as a gift. To make a living as an artist is really pretty special. To sort of solidify in the consciousness of the collectors, people that support the artwork, that glass is an accepted material. I mean, sometimes we have these kind of cultural corrals that we're kept in, in terms of, well, this is traditional and this is contemporary. And I think that we're trying to break down those barriers a bit.
So Preston Singletary is a member of this NCN Collective, and he's going to be carving those traditional designs into the objects that we're making today. So we'll make the forms today, we'll cool them off overnight, and then Mr. Singletary will take him to his studio and do carving the designs into the surface. And you can see an example with that whale, the killer whale, up on the pedestal. Does anybody have any questions? Ooh, I don't know. Maybe 20 pounds. I'm just guessing. It's a deceptive number because all the weight is way out on the end of that pole. So lobbing that thing around is like picking up a bowling ball with a fishing pole. The leverage is all wrong. So it feels a lot heavier than it weighs on a scale. Do you guys have any questions? So over on the left, Raven Skyriver with the long ponytail, has pulled out the disc shape that we made earlier this morning. It's been sitting inside that silver oven, staying warm. That's called the garage. And we're going to get ready to join the two sections. We're going to drill a small hole in the top of that section. The drill is an ordinary electric drill. The bit is a sharpened rod of tungsten. Tungsten is a very hard, very heat-resistant material. We heat up the tip of the tungsten rod till it's glowing, and then we can actually drill right into the hot glass. So we left there's a little hole on the bottom of that disc, and so we want to be able to blow into the whole form, and so we'll attach the two holes together, and so the air will go all the way up into the disc section. So can we put up the chalk drawing? So we have the cylindrical section, and we have the disc, and now we're about to join the two together. So we're going to heat up the top of the cylindrical section. We're going to heat up the bottom of the disc. Okay, make those sections hot and soft. And when we press them together, they'll fuse. So we're getting ready to join the two. Hot glass sticks to hot glass. When you feel that connection is firm, we'll break it away from the metal pipe. Yes. Yes. Well, we're going to add, we got the cylinder, we got the disc, and then there's a bird. The bird is in that oven over here warming up, and we'll add that, and then when it's all assembled, we'll just knock it off that pipe, and then if they want to, they'll probably cut it flat across the bottom. That'll happen when it's cold, not when it's hot. You'll notice that periodically one of the glass blowers heats up the glass that's wrapped around the end of the metal pipe. That connection is fragile. As long as it's kept warm, everything is cool. If we allow it to get too cold, that connection can crack. And when I say too cold, I mean below 900 degrees. So even though they're working on the top, you'll see periodically one of the glass blowers will grab one of the torches and warm up that connection. So we're not shaping that, we're just keeping it warm so it doesn't crack. When we use the torches, we can focus the heat in a particular place. So we can make just the part that we want to shape hot and soft, and we can shape that part without disturbing the rest of the object. Glass is a poor conductor of heat, so we get one part very hot and soft without losing the regular shape. You guys have any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah. We still have a little chunk of clear glass at the very top. Where we were holding it temporarily, we're going to take that off before we attach the bird. So there's a little chunk of clear glass from where we were holding the disc earlier. That was there temporarily to hold the disc. It's not part of the sculpture, so we're going to heat that up and trim off that clear glass. I don't know because I'm not holding it, but I'm guessing, I don't know, 25, 30 pounds, somewhere in that neighborhood. The actual weight is not is deceptive because it's way out on the end of that pole. So it's like picking up a bowling ball with a fishing pole. So it feels a lot heavier than it would weigh, you would think from weighing it on a scale. We're just keeping that warm so it doesn't crack. So we're working on the top where we're going to clean that thing off, the clear glass off, but also we have to remember to warm up the section where it's attached to the pipe so that it doesn't crack. Punty, P-U-N-T-Y, punty, P-U-N-T-Y. Well, when they're cold, we'll cut the bulk off with a diamond saw, and then we'll grind and polish whatever's left. That'll all happen when the glass is cold. When we're making a fancy sculpture like this, we often leave a little bit up. There comes the bird. We leave a little section here so that when we break it off, we're not taking a divot out of the sculpture. And then this will be mechanically ground and polished off. But for this little chunk that's left there, we need to put the bird there. So we've got to actually clean it off hot. So over on the far left, we have the bird. The bird was sculpted on another day by Martin Janecký, tall guy on the left. We've warmed it up in a kiln, and now we're getting ready to attach it. So Raven Skyriver, the man with the long ponytail, is cutting off that clear glass that was left by the punty. Yeah.
What's the difference in the two counts? You warmed the bird up in that one, and now he's running doing that one.
No difference. No difference.
No difference, it's just close.
They're just two workstations. Making that chalk drawing that you see on the floor. Can we put up the chalk drawing? We're about to attach the bird. Martin, over on the bench on the right. The bird was made on another day. It's been sitting in a kiln warming up, and now we're getting ready to attach it. These are collaborative. It's called the NCN Collective. There's about 6 artists. Martin Janecký, Raven Skyriver, Kelly Odell, some artists who are not here today, Preston Singletary, Joe David, Charlie Parriott. So these are collaborative, but different artists might just be making their own things. Glassblowing is a team sport, so you'll hardly ever see anyone out here alone. But the other people, usually are just assisting. It's not necessarily their designs. So as Raven Skyriver, the man with the long ponytail, cleans up the top of the sculpture, gets rid of that excess clear glass, you'll see one of the other glass blowers will take a big torch and warm up the glass that's wrapped around the end of the pipe. That glass is fragile. As long as it's warm, everything's cool. If it's allowed to get too cold, that glass will crack and we'll lose the whole thing. Can we get a shot of Martin and the bird on the right side of the studio? So that's Martin Janecký. And he's the artist that sculpted that bird. He's getting ready to attach it . So here we go. Hot glass sticks to hot glass. We'll break the glass away from the metal pipe that was holding the bird. And now the three sections are stuck together. When the weight is so far out at the end, that makes it really feel heavy. It's like having the big fat kid on the end of the seesaw. So, in some sense, Gabe Feenan in the trucker hat, he's got the most physically exhausting part of this operation. He's got to lug that thing around. Now Martin's making the beak pointier. We want to make a sharp point. We grab the glass, stretch it out, that narrows it. We cut that off. We grab it again, stretch it out. That narrows it even further until we get a nice point. If we had the point, if we made the point earlier, when in the heat, it would kind of ball up. So it looks like we're getting ready to take this to the annealing oven. You'll see one of the glass blowers is putting on some protective clothing. He's going to carry the finished sculpture to the annealing oven. The jacket and gloves that he's wearing are made out of Kevlar. Kevlar is a fire-resistant insulating material. When he grabs that sculpture, it'll be about 1,000 degrees. And the Kevlar will protect him on the short trip to the annealing oven, where the sculpture will be cooled over a day or so. So let's have a hand for the NCN Collective and the Museum of Glass Hot Shop team. Gabe Feenan, Raven Skyriver, Kelly Odell, Corey, and Martin Janecký, and Ben Cobb.
Yeah, I didn't know I had forgotten about the timing, and I was looking through something, and I saw that you guys were working 3 days, and then the 18th, 19th, 19th, 20th, 21st. So anyhow,
You're here.
yeah, my Noah, Jesse, lives in down in Olympia. So I said, well, I'll drive down to Museum of Glass. They'll come up. They'll be really amazed. So that's good. That's cool. Yeah, good fruit.
It is.
Yeah.
Preston was here yesterday.
Yeah, I missed him too. Yeah, but that's fine. Still got some incredible workers out there.
Oh yeah. They're all sculpted by hand.
Wow, yeah, I know. That's amazing. It's amazing where glass is gone. Yeah.
What?
It's amazing where glass is gone. You know, a few years ago, shops were closing. A few years ago, shops were closing. Blowing wasn't a hot thing anymore, and then all of a sudden, boom! People felt the ability to really create with glass.
Yeah, no, people are doing good things. A lot of young people coming up.
Yeah,
This is the older crew. So.
yeah, oh yeah. A few times I've been up at Field Chuck this summer. What people are doing is just, you know, amazing.
That's good.
I mean, creative. Creative. A couple of the artists in residence, they were just wire and sticks, and standing in these molds, and then they were blowing into the different molds, coming out with really pretty interesting shapes. Cool. Yeah. So you doing good?
Yeah. I'm here, being a tour guide.
Gets repetitive after a while. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
After a very short while.
Yeah. I used to do that. I used to narrate for the open houses.
Right.
Back in the day, and that was, you know, pretty soon it was just
All about automate.
Yeah.
You're on, yes.
you had the same
Autopilot.
auto. Yeah, but that's good. I mean, you do a really great job of it. So thank you. Thank you.
So it looks like we're going to take an early lunch today. What time is it? Oh, this is an early lunch. So we're going to take lunch. We'll be back in an hour. If anybody has any questions before I go to lunch. You.
Oh, 1:30, buddy. Can you drop down my key card, please?